This creates a legal gray area. For example, if a new federal law were to pass banning a certain firearm, Idaho law enforcement would not participate in any confiscation program. However, a federal agent could, in theory, still prosecute an individual under that federal law. Hello everybody, and welcome to my silly little YouTube show about real estate in North Central Idaho. My name is Earl Music, and I am the owner and broker of two different real estate brokerages here in the area, one of them being in Cranesville and the other one in Orofino, Idaho. And I'm going to talk to you about a subject that is important to me, especially when I occasionally watch national news and see what's going on out in the world. I always think to myself, boy, I'm glad I live here. So today, you saw the title of my video is going to be, is Idaho a sanctuary state for undocumented firearms? I'm going to go ahead and use some liberal buzzwords against them in a subject that they probably do not agree with me on. And so I'm going to have a little fun with it. But first of all, let's clear up what I consider an undocumented firearm. This is not a legal definition by any means, but it could mean something different to different people. First of all, probably some people are going to consider it firearms without serial numbers. They also call them ghost guns. I've always considered that kind of a funny, goofy name. When I think of a ghost gun, I would think more of a proton pack. And if you know what I'm talking about, congratulations, you know a good movie when you see one. Next one is firearms are bought and sold privately without going through a licensed deed or getting that federal background check. Again, that's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is that the state of Idaho does not have a state firearms registry. We're going to go over that again a little bit here in a few minutes. Are you thinking about moving to North Central Idaho? Well, I've created the ultimate relocation guide. It's all about the small towns here in North Central Idaho that you might want to live. And so you can check that out either by getting the link down in the description or check the top pinned comment. The link will be there as well. And the best part is it's 100% free. So the big question is, does Idaho's legal framework create a sanctuary for these types of firearms? Let's take a look. At the heart of Idaho's position is the Idaho Second Amendment Protection Act. This is a powerful piece of legislation that essentially tells the federal government that Idaho will not help enforce certain federal gun laws. The law states that any federal act, law, order, rule, or regulation that infringes on the right to keep and bear arms under the Second Amendment is void and of no effect within Idaho. It prohibits any public employee in Idaho, that means state, county, and city police, from using any resources to enforce these specific federal laws. This is what makes Idaho a Second Amendment sanctuary state, in my opinion. It's the refusal to cooperate with what the state legislature deems to be federal overreach. I have two questions for you today. First question is, if you're considering moving to North Central Idaho, where are you currently living? My best guess is the number one answer is going to be the state of Washington. My other guess is going to be the state of California. And then I'm going to have a follow-up question for you as well. Why are you considering North Central Idaho as a destination? My guess on this one, the number one answer, I bet almost anything, is going to be politics. But hey, I could be wrong. So if you would be so kind as to leave your answers down in the comments, I would love to read them and find out. Also, while you're down there, if you have any questions of me, please ask down there. You can also give me a call, send me a text, however you prefer to communicate. I would love to hear from each and every one of you. So how does that apply to the undocumented firearms we talked about? I'm going to break it down. There's no state registry. Idaho has no law requiring you to register your firearm with the state. In that sense, virtually all guns owned by law-abiding citizens in Idaho are undocumented from a state perspective. Private sales are legal here in Idaho. Idaho does not require background checks for private firearm sales between two individuals. They can legally buy and sell firearms without any paperwork, although it is a crime to knowingly sell to a prohibited person. Privately made firearms Idaho law does not prohibit a person who can legally possess a firearm from manufacturing one for their own personal use. So if you combine the Second Amendment Protection Act with the lack of these common regulations, you can see why I would consider Idaho one of the most gun-friendly states in the nation. But here's the most important part of this entire discussion. Idaho State does not cease federal law. While the local sheriff or city police will not help enforce certain federal gun laws, agencies like the ATF still operate within Idaho and are tasked with enforcing federal laws. So as much as I enjoy doing these videos, what I really enjoy in my job is meeting people from all over the country just trying to find their little piece of freedom. And so if you're interested in moving to North Central Idaho, whether it's next week, next month, next year, I would love to hear from you. All my information is right here on the screen. You can also check it out in all of my video descriptions. And let's see if we can't just find your own little private Idaho. The sanctuary status creates a significant buffer, but it is not an impenetrable shield against a federal authority. So to answer our initial question, is Idaho a sanctuary state for undocumented firearms? My answer is a qualified yes. Idaho law creates a robust sanctuary from the enforcement of certain federal gun laws by state and local authorities. The state's legal framework allows for the private sale and manufacture of firearms without state-level documentation. However, it is not a sanctuary from the federal law itself. Every gun owner is still responsible for knowing and complying with both state and federal regulations. It's a fascinating and involving area of law that highlights an ongoing tension between states' rights and federal authorities in America. What are your thoughts? Do you live in an area who protects gun ownership or is attacking your gun ownership? And does Idaho sound like a place you would like to live? Let me know in the comments below. Love hearing from all of you. And thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next video.